welcome to the Rules and Elections and IGR Committee. It's Friday, May 17th. We have a quorum. I'm joined by Mr. Wizar. Mr. Clerk, we have 18 items on the agenda, two of which I intend on having a conversation about. In fact, with these additional cards, makes it four of which. So why don't you, let's take care of the consent items. So on item 1, we'll continue that item. And if you could read item 2.
Good morning, certainly.
And good morning to you.
Thank you.
Were you quoted in LA Times today?
No, not today.
Only Holly, not June.
I'm not touching that one.
Go ahead.
Item number 2 is a city position on AB 135.
Okay, on item 2, without objection, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution. Let's go to item 3.
Item number 3 is the city's position on increasing license fees to fund driver education.
Okay, on item 3, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution. Next.
Item number 4 is the city's position on SB 649.
Can I just say ditto, or do I have to? We will adopt the CLA report and resolution. Ditto is not sufficient. Where's my attorney?
He's right here.
It's Friday. Can I say ditto?
You have the mic. You should say as many words as you can.
Oh, this is going to be a live Friday, I can tell you that. Next item.
Item number 5 is the city's position on Section 735 of H.R. 933.
Okay, even though I'm under protest here, we will adopt the CLA report and resolution. Number 6.
Item number 6 is the city's position on AB 241 relative to equal rights for domestic workers.
Okay, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution. Item 7.
Item number 7 is relative to the city's position on AB 711 regarding banning lead ammunition for hunting.
Okay, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution.
Item number 8 is the city's position on AB 810 relative to criminal offender database.
Okay, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution.
Item number 9 is relative to the city's position on AB 48 registering ammunition sales.
Okay, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution. Next.
Item number 10 is relative to the city's position on designating Mount Zion Jewish Cemetery as a historic landmark.
Okay, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution. Let's go to 11.
Item number 11 is relative to the city's position on AB 666, requiring car owners to pay for red light camera violations.
Now, who would accept having a bill called 666? I mean, I was in the legislature. You could have skipped a number or something. Whose assembly bill is that? Who?
Wachowski.
I don't have a clue who that. Let you know how long ago I was there. Okay, we'll, I guess, adopt the CLA report resolution on whatever. Next.
Item number 12 is relative to the city's position on Senate Bill 360, permitting publicly owned and developed voting systems.
Okay, we'll adopt the CLA report and resolution. Okay, I want to hold item 13, and I want to hold item 14. So let's go to item 15.
Item 15 is relative to, one moment, please.
Since you're so polite, yes, take all the
Thank you.
time you want.
Thank you, sir. Item number 15 is relative to the city's position on Metro reopening consideration for a transit option on Sepulveda Boulevard.
Okay, we will adopt the CLA report and resolution. Item 16.
Item 16 is relative to a joint powers agreement for the South Bay City Council of Governments.
Dion? Ditto. So that's my one protest. So without objection, all of the items that the clerk just read, we're moving them without objection. So they will be deemed approved. Okay, let's start out with item 13. I have a public comment card. I think it's Danielle Brazile. Please come forward. Yeah.
I was just thinking that
One
maybe I did a disservice by providing public comment because it may have just sailed through, but I just want to say that
It's no
this-
disservice,
Oh,
okay?
great. I love that. Thank you. I'm Danielle Brazile, Executive Director of Arts for LA. Support from the city for AB 580 is huge. It will directly benefit the city of Los Angeles. It will also benefit nonprofit arts organizations serving communities throughout the region. It will also provide additional economic activity through the one-to-one match. So for every grant dollar that comes through the state, organizations have to match that. So I think it's a win-win for everyone, and it's a great way for us to celebrate the way in which we as advocates can support your leadership and the city's leadership in getting more money for arts and culture to the city. So thanks.
Well, we concur, this committee concurs with your belief. So on item 13, unless Mr. Weezer, you have an objection or something that you need to say, we will adopt the CLA report and resolution on item 13.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair, would you like me to read item 13 into the record?
Why not?
Okay. Item 13 is Resolution Krikorian-Labange Buscaino Coritz relative and CLA report relative to including in the city's state legislative program support for AB 580, which will allocate $75 million to the California Arts Council to fund art programs statewide.
Okay. All right. So now we'll go to item 14. All I have are these two cards.
No, sir, we have additional cards.
Well, you might want to.
And those cards are coming to you. And item number 14 is Resolution Coritz Buscaino Krikorian and CLA report relative to including in the city's state legislative program support for legislation and administrative action, which would urge the Executive Committee of the Los Angeles Superior Court to stop the reduction and consolidation process at all courthouses in the city of Los Angeles so that any court plan and any sound alternatives can be properly discussed and vetted in public forum. This item is in council today.
All right. Let me call up Sierra, Evans, and Rosie. I think it's Martinez. Come on up. Sierra, Rosie, Karen, Norwood, Myrna Colville. Come on. And let's see, who did I miss? I have a Sheila Lewis. Okay, if you'd state your name, begin.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Rosie Martinez, member of SCIU 721, and I'm here today to oppose the closure of Kenyon Juvenile Justice Center. Our community deserves better. The community has a right to have services dedicated to protect children who need help. Our community deserves better. Longer lines, waits for court dates, higher costs, travel time, more unfair fees, car impoundments. Our community deserves better. The impact of these closures will be devastating to everyone. That's why community groups, workers, and unions are banding together to save our courts. Kenyon is the only juvenile court in South LA. Closing it will force low-income youth to spend more time, more money getting to court. It will unnecessarily inflame gang tensions by pushing court proceedings out of the area. Our community deserves better. We demand public hearings. We demand that Kenyon Juvenile Justice Center and all county courts stay open. Hold public hearings. We deserve to have a say. My question is, why are judges so afraid of our voices? That's why we're standing together to fight. Our community deserves better.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Next.
Good morning. Thank you first and foremost for allowing me to speak. I am Sierra Evans, a resident of Compton and a great supporter of the activism that has been brought upon us with the court closures and allowing the community to have a voice in the matter. I first would like to thank the City Council members who have supported our efforts in stopping the court closures and getting the community's voice heard. I would also like to state that if the courts continue to be closed without the community's voice, that would just further allow more skepticism and paranoia in regards to the democratic process that our country was brought upon. So with that being said, I just would like to say that I would, one, hope that the judges would allow the community to have a voice in the matter and let us know what's going on with the court closures. Where will we go? We don't know anything. What will happen? We just know that it'll be closed, and we don't know what the alternatives are and if we even have a voice. So I'm here to speak on behalf of the people who don't have a voice, and I would like the judges and all of the people who are having the court closures to stop suppressing the community's voice in the matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning. My name is Karen Norwood, and I am president of ASME Local 3302 and secretary on Council 36. And I'm standing before you to talk about the courts. The courts have decided to close courts without any information from anyone else, especially our community. These actions are going to be devastating to our community. It's going to be devastating to the parents that are trying to get custody or even to see their children. It's going to also be devastating for anybody trying to get a protection order. We already have long lines. Today, when I came into work, just at the civil courthouse on Hill Street, not too far from here, the line is 2 or 3 blocks long. Now they're saying they're going to close certain courts. 3 of the courts are in the city: West LA, San Pedro, and San Fernando. Just think about it. If you live in Leimert Park, one side of Leimert Park comes downtown to file. The other side has to go all the way to Norwalk. This is a devastating thing for low-income families. Some people don't have cars. The transit doesn't always work properly. So I'm asking you to help us to make sure that this is stopped, or at least let the community know. Have a lot of townhome meetings in the different communities. Our community doesn't know what's happening. We're already having fights at the court on Hill Street, and more importantly, traffic court. This needs to be stopped. The judges don't live in these communities. So they should not be making the decisions on who can have court access and who cannot. I thank you very much for listening to me.
No, thank you for coming down. Next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Myrna Colville. I am a parent. I have experienced situations with my daughter. I was sent to the Kenyon courthouse where they were instrumental in helping my daughter. They worked closely with her, the lawyers, the judges, even the prosecuting lawyers. They all came together as a family and supported us. I am a proud mother of a 18-year-old daughter who made it through high school. She graduated. They mentored her. They provided us with resources to get her on track, and she did. My daughter now wants to be a lawyer. I'm asking you to please stop disclosure. I'm advocating for Kenyon because that is my experience there with my child. Again, I want to thank you guys also for allowing me to stand here before you and speak on behalf of this court. I urge you to stop the closure and get the community involved. I learned of this closure on the day I had a court with my daughter. Had I not been there that day, then what would have happened? We deserve more than that. And I'm asking you to please pay attention to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I'm really glad to hear your daughter is doing well. We all have challenges. It's life, but you worked with her and got the assistance that she needed, and I hope she does become a lawyer, and I hope I never have to call her, okay?
And I hope so too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next.
Good morning.
Hey.
I want to thank each and every one of you for giving us all the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Kenyon Courthouse. My name is Sheila Lewis. I am the director of the Family Source Center and the Inner Circle Youth Program for the Watts Labor Community Action Committee. I come here today to express a deep concern that we all have with nonprofit organizations in low-income neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Closing the Kenyon Courthouse is going to be traumatic. I'm asking that you reconsider it. $50 million to $85 million in budget cuts is going to be a drop in the bucket of the crime that is going to happen when these children who are very quick and very smart learn that the court system is so backlogged that whatever crime that they commit, it's going to take a long time if they even get treatment or service or support. It's going to take a long time for them to even be heard or the services that they need to be provided. The probation departments are overloaded. The courts are already overloaded, and you're asking for existing courts to take on triple the amount. We have a partnership with Judge Groman where we provide services, wraparound services, not only to the children but to the families. Closing it, it's going to hurt us. Crime's going to go up. It might not be in your neighborhood, but maybe it should be in your neighborhood. We need help, and we're begging you. Please help us. Don't hurt us. Thank you.
No, thank you for coming down. Thank all of you for coming down. And I just want to make one thing crystal clear. This is not our decision. I mean, so, and I'm not in Sacramento anymore. And James, you know, all you had to do was call. I would have told you or had my office tell you that this was on our consent calendar. We were going to move it, and we wouldn't have had to have all of you come down here, even though you have brightened my day. You're colorful, and it's good to see you. But at this point, unless Mr. Weezer has an objection on item 14, we will deem it approved. So the city's position will be to stop the reductions. Thank you. Hey, now that's one thing. We will take the applause. Now that's because that rarely happens for us. So Mr. Weezer and I are very grateful. All right. Mr. Clerk, what's the next item?
We have item number 17.
Okay, I have a speaker on that too. Debbie Diner Harris.
Would you like me to go ahead and read that item into the record?
Even though I was going to say, Ms. Harris, you came down here. I hope you enjoyed your drive because we're going to roll this right out. Read the item, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 17 is Resolution Coritz Englander Zine relative to making City of Los Angeles contracting decisions and awards in the best interest of the city, its residents, businesses, and taxpayers, and in accordance with the city charter and applicable state and federal law without consideration of issues related to the Arab-Israeli conflict. This item is also referred to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Applicable. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Debbie Diner Harris with the Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles, and I do enjoy coming down to City Hall as often as possible. Thank you very much. I'm happy that I don't need to say anything other than thank you for your support for this motion or for this resolution.
Okay. Mr. Weezer, do you have any questions on item 17? No. Okay, then without objection, we will adopt the city attorney's report and draft ordinance. That
Recommending adoption of the resolution.
No, I'm on the wrong page. I was just testing you to make sure you were paying attention, okay? So on 17, without objection, we will adopt the resolution. Now we go to 18.
Item number 18 is a City Ethics Commission report and City Attorney report and ordinance relative to amending the Los Angeles Administrative Code to add a regulation of the City Ethics Commission concerning contract bidder debarment, mitigating factors, and procedures. This
Okay.
item is in council on May 21st.
I would just move this one, Mr. Weezer, but I'd like to hear from Heather Holt and her crew. Why don't all you guys come up here, and I'll try to come up with a way to poke you a little bit. Come on, Tristan. I said the whole crew. Madam City Attorney, come on. Good morning. It is good to see you. It has been a while. Why don't you just give us a brief overview of what you're asking us to act on?
Good morning. It's good
Morning.
to see you too. Heather Holt for the Ethics Commission. We have in front of you today some regulations that have been adopted by our commissioners. In 2011, the city charter was amended to place limits on campaign contributions and fundraising activity by bidders and contractors on certain city contracts. The law also says that if a person is found to have violated those limits, that the person is debarred from bidding on a city contract for a specified period of time unless the Ethics Commission determines that mitigating circumstances exist. The law also authorizes the Ethics Commission to adopt regulations regarding mitigating circumstances, and our commissioners did that on April 11th. The regulations that are in front of you address two key areas. One is what the factors are to consider, and the other is some procedural requirements. With regard to the factors to consider, the main goals were to reserve debarment for the most egregious violations, and so there are factors such as a respondent's enforcement history with the Ethics Commission, the extent and nature of the violation, the extent of cooperation on the part of the respondent. The other key goal was to not harm the city or its residents by imposing debarment. And so there is a factor that addresses how will this affect city services, city projects, that kind of thing. And the procedural requirements essentially serve to protect due process rights for the respondents and impose requirements such as notice and an opportunity to be heard.
Okay. Anything else, folks? Yes, go right ahead.
Just a reminder that since this is an ethics
Well,
commission...
let's identify yourself, because I want your boss to know you came to work.
Okay. Deputy City Attorney Renee Stottle. Thank you. Just a reminder, because this is an ethics commission regulation, though it's in an ordinance form, it follows a different procedure. So the council really only has the authority to approve or disapprove this regulation and doesn't have authority to amend.
So what are you recommending?
I would recommend that you approve it.
Mr. Weezer, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, then without objections, we will do exactly what you said, Madam City Attorney, and we'll adopt the City Attorney report and the draft ordinance. Mr. Clerk?
That clears the desk.
Okay, guess what?
Thank you.
We're adjourned.